I'm Audrey Hollinger, and this is my husband Kevin Martin, and we're from the Papertrail, which is in New Dundee. We're going to be doing paper making right now. I have here a bucket of cotton pulp that's been pigmented. I'm just going to put the pulp in this vat and mix it in a little, just get it dispersed. It's made out of cotton. And now I have this one part is the mold, this is the decal. You put them together and you scoop and lift up level and let the water drain out. And there you have a piece of paper. Now I'm going to take it over to these interfacing sheets. They're called couches. And then you just put the paper down by closing it like a book and then opening it on the other side. And there you have a piece of paper. And you take another piece of the interfacing couch and put it on top. I've also added a sizing which will make the finished paper slightly waterproof so that it doesn't act like a paper towel when you put a pen to it, just sucking all the ink up. Traditionally, what was done was the paper was made without sizing, and then they would dip the finished paper in a gelatin solution to size it. Now, once I've got a full stack of paper, I would take it over to a press to squeeze as much of the water out as possible, and then I would lay it out to dry.
Some of the pulp is colored because it's made from colored fabric remnants, basically trimmings from garment factories. We have a bit of leather here for doing some bookbinding. This is a fiber called kozo, which is a Japanese paper making fiber. It's the inner bark of a relative of the mulberry plant. And it makes very nice paper, but it's very time consuming to use. And then we also have other raw fibers. This is cotton and flax here. There's a local printing shop in town. They're closing down, and they had this in their back room. They hadn't really used it, but it's very heavy and they were planning on scrapping it. So I went and got it for my own use. It needs some fixing up. Some of the hoses leak and the suction doesn't work too well, so fix up the paper kind of crooked right now, but hopefully I can get it working properly again. This press is about 60 years old roughly, and it's produced in England. Sort of a competition to another popular one that some printers have heard of called the Heidelberg Windmill, which was made in Germany. At the time there was still some anti-German sentiment in England. It seems that was just after World War II. So that's one of the reasons why I think a lot of these ended up coming to Canada instead of German presses. And it's a self-feeder. It picks up the paper here, puts it here to print it, and then the printed sheet comes out here. So this is some of the marbling. Lots of detail. Everything pretty much starts with a pattern like this, not necessarily this fine, called a stone pattern, which you get by just splattering the paints on the surface. And then you use things that are called combs or rakes. It's a bar with pegs in it, evenly spaced, to draw out the pattern in various shapes. And depending which rakes you use and how you move them through the tray, you get different designs. This design is called a scallop design. You can actually do non-abstract designs, like a floral thing like this. Most of the work, though, is abstract. If you're interested in seeing how marbling is done, you can come out and see us at the Heart and Hand Festival on September 21st at Joseph Schneider House.
I'll be there assisting, and I'll also be selling some of the marble papers and handmade papers.